Hey there, Tom. What's up, Willie? Man, what is with the dang ninja outfit again? Dude, it is the Final Four weekend. You know how those New Jersey fans can be. They are very supportive and passionate about their wrestlers. I need to be prepared for this preview. I was not sure who you would pick to win between Easton and High Point, so I wanted to be prepared. Anyways, surely you were kidding around. I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Wow, separated by less than 60 miles, geographically, the top-ranked teams in two of the most highly regarded high school wrestling states will be in even closer proximity on Saturday morning as the NHSU's Final Four is staged in the Red Rovers Made for Wrestling Shawnee Middle School Gym. Easton, Pennsylvania and High Point, New Jersey will be a battle. This duel, which will be competed in the second session, 11:45 a.m. of the Final Four, which means, at least for now, bragging rights, supremacy, and a higher national ranking. Currently Easton is number 12, while High Point checks in at number 16. But the High Point Wildcats began the year with a higher ranking, 11th to Easton's 15th, and owns a 48-14 thrashing of Easton last season at this same event. High Point's drop in ranking occurred after their first weekend of competition when they had a disappointing runner-up finish at the King of the Mountain to then unranked Massillon Perry. Meanwhile Easton has remained unblemished, winning Reno over then-ranked Roseburg, Oregon, and the number 1 team from Oklahoma, Tulsa Union. So, when Easton jumped High Point in the Clinchgear National Team rankings, New Jersey fans were quick to cite last year's Final Four result, and the fact that the Wildcat lineup returns in its near entirety. High Point boasts a whopping 5 state placers, and 3 other state qualifiers. But as we often see in duels, it all comes down to matchups. This was readily apparent last year when, although High Point easily dispatched Easton, they were blown out by Bishop Lynch, Texas, while Easton almost pulled off the upset against the Texas squad in a one-bout loss. With all that said, let's look at this duel more closely. Yeah, let's do that. You know, you haven't stopped talking since I came here? You must have been vaccinated with a phonograph needle. Ah, okay Tom. At 103, High Point wrestler is always mentioned first, John Torpy versus Kyle Baker. Torpy is a 500 wrestler. Baker, although a very green freshman, has wrestled well lately, going 3-2 at the Super 32 and winning Mannheim. Look for a Baker bonus here. Easton 4-0. Now we are finally rolling. At 112, Justin Bellis versus Peter Stanley. Bellis was a state qualifier last year. He went 1-2 at King of the Mountain, but they were his only 2 losses this season. He has since recorded 9 falls in his last 13 bouts. Stanley is a very fundamental wrestler. He reached Reno semis and ultimately settled for 6th. This is a most pivotal bout. Bellis in a close one. Easton 4-3. Smart Alec. At 119 we will see Billy Haganey versus Evan Desor. Haganey is a transfer from Lenape Valley for whom he won a state medal for in his sophomore season. He has just 1 loss on the year, but it was lopsided, as he was tech-fooled in King of the Mountain quarters. Desor, a state placer at 103 last year, has just 2 losses on the year. Desor wins big. Easton 8-3. Whatever, at 125 we have Nick Francavilla versus Robbie Rizzolino. The first of 2 Wildcat state champions, Francavilla is a 2-timer. Rizzolino is having a strong start to his sophomore season. An HP win, but no bonus. Easton 8-6. You know the difference between you and me? I make this look good. At 130 you should see Jason Snyder versus Calvin Daly. Snyder comes in with a solid 11-4 record and an 8th place showing at the King of the Mountain. Daly is a 2-year starter for the Rovers. He went 3-2 at Super 32 and placed 5th at Reno last month. Daly should prevail here. 11 and 6 Easton. Yes, you make short cool. At 135, look for Brennan Donahue versus Mark Mizinski. An interesting matchup here as both guys are of the lesser accomplished variety. But they have the potential to score team points that will be just as important as any their teammates can. Complete toss-up here. 11 to 9 Easton. Short jokes? That's the best you can do? Anyways, look for Drew Wagenhofer or Alec Avino versus Joey Rizzolino at 140. This is where things can get interesting, to say the least. The Wildcats have a lot of flexibility here as they can move Wagenhofer, Avino, and Orgaccioni at various combinations of the next three weights. Wagenhofer and Rizzolino should be a toss-up, and one of the premier bouts of the duel. Who sends out first will be of ultimate interest and might be dependent upon the team score at the time. I have to go with Wagenhofer, a runner-up at both King of the Mountain and the Mustang, who had a win over Rizzolino here last year. High point 12 to 11. I'm bigger than you and higher up the food chain. Get in my belly. At 145 you may have Joe Gaccioni or Wagenhofer or Avino versus Anthony Minotti or Mitch Minotti. Gaccioni is one of the better wrestlers you haven't heard of. He was a runner-up at King of the Mountain and was a state qualifier last year. If it's Mitch Minotti that comes out, it will be the best bout of the duel. Minotti won Reno this year and is a two-time state place winner. Easton 15 to 11. At 152 we have Gaccioni or Avino versus Anthony or Mitch Minotti. Avino has been the utility man for the Wildcats this year. In duels he can wrestle as low as 140, but in tournaments he gets bumped here. Against Anthony he probably gives up bonus. Against Mitch, it's nearly inevitable. Easton 19 to 11. At 160 we have John Guzzo versus Mason McIntyre. Guzzo is a bit of an enigma. Early in his career he was a born stormer, placing at everything he entered including Fargo. As late as last fall, he was a Super 32 runner-up with a semis win over three-time PIA State finalist Eric Hess. He had a tough draw at last year's New Jersey State tournament and placed third. But Guzzo essentially disappeared this off-season. So the question is, which John Guzzo do we get? McIntyre keeps improving. Last week he had a good go with three-time state place winner Ryan Krecker in a 5-2 loss. I'll take Guzzo by regular decision. Easton 19 to 14. Thanks Tom. At 171 it should be Ethan Orr versus Zach Bamberry. It might be odd to say that I think Orr really turned the corner this summer considering he won one of the toughest state tournaments in the country last year. But he really does look dramatically improved this year. His motor is non-stop and he's rarely out of position. Bamberry is a standout multi-sport athlete for the Rovers. I have no doubt he's good enough to wrestle with Orr for a while. But can he for 6 o'clock? Easton 19 to 18. At 189 we have John Mallon versus Joe Rodger. Mallon had a good King of the Mountain showing going 4-1 before defaulting his last two bouts to finish 8th. Rodger is a young, but capable wrestler who, like a typical upper weight, is most comfortable hand fighting and less on leg attacks. It should be a good bout. High Point needs this one. High Point 21 to 19. On to 250. Look for John Hagan versus Tyler Green. The Wildcats have been struggling at this weight with both their wrestlers posting losing records, and often giving up bonus. Green is an up-and-comer, but still at a relatively raw stage. Easton 25 to 21. Finally the big fellas. We have Billy Smith versus Jalil Page. Billy Smith is one of the preeminent big guys in the country. There is no question how good he is. Rather, how good is Page? He's really been coming on, but his shining moments are overshadowed by periods of inconsistency. You have to favor Smith here, but I don't see bonus. Page has lost 3 bouts this season by just 5 combined points. Easton 25 to 24. The duel is really too close to call. It looks to hinge on a few key bouts. 112 would be a big one, as will the 135 and 140, all of which could certainly go the opposite way I handicap. What will almost undoubtedly prove pivotal will be the combination of guys we see paired up from 40 through 52, and ultimately the starting weight and who wins the coin flip to send out first. It's that close, folks. Willie, this is the Final Four, so I assume there are other teams here, or are you ignoring them? No, Tom, I am not ignoring them, you jerk. Pool includes Blair Academy, New Jersey; Parkland, Pennsylvania; Lake Stevens, Washington; Council Rock South, Pennsylvania; and Jackson Memorial, New Jersey. I know Kung Fu. Anyways, the rest of Pool besides Easton and High Point is Walsh Jezel, Ohio; Penn Argyle, Pennsylvania; and Collins Hill, Georgia. Yes, I know that you know Kung Fu. Thanks for sharing, I am sure people really care. Tom will also provide live audio and updates on all duels pending broadcast rights. Thanks for joining us.